What do you make of Gary Gensler of the SEC, former Goldman, I think? Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Kind of having this, I don't know, it's almost like he's like, talks softly and carries a big stick, big threats, calling all crypto securities, basically saying it's not our job to clarify things, it's your job to watch out, pulling up old John Kennedy quotes that no honest business needs to fear the SEC, not taking meetings with Coinbase. It's been kind of fascinating to watch him. I actually took a class from him at the Sloan School of Management that's on YouTube that's 24 hours long. And I unfortunately started really getting to like Gary because he's super smart.
He's smart.
He understands
Absolutely.
crypto really well.
Yeah.
And yet now he's gotten this position, which maybe it's his job because it's a very underfunded organization. And probably the best way they can use their power is to use it as a blunt instrument. But what do you make of him, kind of threatening these companies and not empowering them and embracing them? Some say that the US is missing a golden opportunity to own a piece of technology that they're not going to own, whereas they've owned all the Silicon Valley, all the tech movements for the past 30 years. Crypto's actually mostly non-US as far as its innovations. Just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, it's interesting because he is quite smart. I mean, in some ways, I actually see him as sidestepping the entire thing versus actually fighting it with what he's saying, because he's not taking those meetings, and yes, he's not come out and promote blockchain technology or cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, but at the same token, I feel like he's almost like let it sort of handle itself. I don't think he's fighting it as much as just trying not to deal with it. That's how I see what he's doing.
Could be. Also, we forget, they have a lot of things to do, and I think, honestly, their crypto budget is probably 5 or 10%. Tiny. He went to Congress asking for more, so I think we also assume that he's got, all this free time, and he's thinking about crypto all the time. No, he's thinking about all the other problems that the SEC needs to worry about.
It's funny. I was at the SEC visiting a former Bear Stearns employee, Bob Jackson, who was one of the commissioners, who was appointed on the Democrat side by Obama back whenever, and he'd stayed to an extent at the commission as one of the 5 commissioners on the Democrat side. And I was visiting him, and we were talking about just corruption in general, Wall Street, the whole thing. I mean, he knows it very, very well. He was in it. He was at the SEC. Now he's, I think he's teaching law or whatever he's doing. Very articulate, very sort of passionate about this idea of fighting corruption. But he just ran into, he told me there's all of these just walls at the SEC trying to bring stuff up. And he was like, Nomi, there's literally a floor below the SEC building of just boxes of paperwork. And I've got no interns to go through it. So even if I wanted to basically, sort of bring a large case that required a lot of analysis and sifting through a lot of information, whether that's, part digital, part paper, whatever, just the actual budget to do that, like you're saying, is just not there.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, and I don't know Gary Gensler, but it's got to, to me, sounds like it's got to be frustrating, whatever piece of the SEC you are dealing with. Which is part of the reason why the SEC winds up, making cases stick on smaller individuals and participants more than they ever, catch the big ones. Occasionally they get headlines, but just in general, sort of on a day-to-day thing, because it's just, it is really underfunded.
The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.